Hi there. Thank
Hey,
you
good
for having
afternoon.
us today, Inga.
Yeah, thanks. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats. And today we're talking about Matter Academy, which is a proposed charter school. And the team to teach us more about what Matter Academy San Antonio is all about. We have Bonnie Salas, who is the board chair of Matter Academy San Antonio, and she's also an educator here in San Antonio. So she's a veteran of Charter Moms Chats. And then we have two members of the application team who are helping, put forward Matter Academy. So we have Danny Diaz and Shannine Sadesky. So Bonnie, Danny, and Shani, thank you so much for joining me on Charter Moms Chats.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for
Thanks. We're happy to be here.
Yeah. So Shani, I'm going to send you the first question, which is if you could explain the mission and vision of Matter Academy, and as part of this creating this blog post. That's my chance to plug SAChartermoms.com. So today we're featuring a new blog post about Matter Academy, but most folks in Texas probably haven't heard of Matter Academy yet, but it's a big network in Florida and Nevada and beyond already.
We're really hoping to change that, and we're really excited for the opportunity to be coming into Texas. Looking forward to telling you a little bit about us. This is actually our 25-year anniversary, Inga. So we're very excited to be celebrating 25 years of educational excellence. And you're correct, we do have a presence in Florida and Nevada, and we actually also have an international school in Italy. Coming into Matter San Antonio, we want to bring the vision and mission of what we believe in, and we believe that we can bring an exemplary product as a choice for Texas families and their children. Matter believes in providing an exemplary educational experience, and that encompasses a lot of things. We like to say from kinder to career, we are a college prep, college readiness focused school. So even from the time our students enter kindergarten, we're talking to them about where might you go to college? What do you think you want to be when you grow up? And, obviously those answers vary vastly between the time they're in kindergarten and the time they're close to graduation. And even as we know, as kids get to college, that changes a lot as well. And, you might change your major 17 times, but our goal is to really expose the kids to the opportunities that are out there and pique some areas of interest so that they know not only what they may be interested in, absolutely, definitely, but also what they may not be interested in. And that helps direct their educational path and their future going forward. We believe in the 3 R's, and this is touted throughout our schools: rigor, relevance, and relationships. And that's the relationships is a huge part, I think, that really brings that Matter family feel to each one of our schools. And, we believe in making sure that every student has mentors and, feels that closeness and connection. And having that K-12 model is really great because it allows for that from starting, in kindergarten and knowing that same school family all the way through graduation, I think is a really special experience that we provide. The rigor, and Bonnie's going to talk to you a little bit about this more as well, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on. But that rigor is what has allowed us to be a high-performing network. So as a high-performing charter school network, we really have a lot of students that have dual enrollment courses, academic acceleration, advanced placement courses that are graduating with, AA degrees or college credits. So that's a big foundational focus for our network, is that we're pushing to academic excellence. We're pushing the students up. We're setting the bar high so that they can move up to the bar that they can meet as high as we can get them. And we want to encourage them every step of the way through that. Our schools are also technology rich. We have a lot of different grants that have provided us the opportunity to do that, but we do have one-to-one devices for all of our students. We have a myriad of learning labs and just opportunities to get the students prepared for the 21st century and beyond. And that's part of getting our students to become confident leaders and really contributing members of society and making our world a better place and being out there solving problems and for the greater good. That's a big foundation of what we believe in as well. We also, I think what makes us special is we're very bottom up versus top down. So we want all of our stakeholders to be involved as part of the process. It takes everybody, as they say, it takes a village. And we really believe that it takes everybody So we want all of the stakeholders contributing to what do we want the school to look like? What do we want it to offer our students? How can we do better? Where do we need to put more resources? Where are we not doing well? And we constantly are seeking that feedback. And I think that's a special place. We want an open door policy for our parents and our students to feel like they have a voice and that they can be heard in our school. So I think those are some of the big ones. I would just throw in as well, safety is critically important to us as well. And that's part of our vision and our mission statement. As we are living in this day and age and all of the things we have to be concerned about, it's important that our schools come to school in a crazy and chaotic world and feel safe and feel secure, and that our parents feel that safety too. So we put all of those measures in place to the greatest extent possible, and then some, to make sure that we're providing that environment where students can really thrive.
Wow, that's a wonderful like sort of peek kind of overview about Matter. So I want to kind of follow up on that and ask more about, like you mentioned, the 25-year anniversary. So I was wondering if y'all could tell more about the history of Matter Academy, like kind of the origin story, and then kind of about the track record of success.
Yeah.
You mentioned in Florida and Nevada.
Yeah, well, I've been involved in charter schools really started to, kind of launch in Florida in 1997. And that's actually when I started. I'm aging myself here, but that's when it started. And Matter Academy, I believe, was founded in 1998. It was Matter means mother in Latin. And so it was a small little school in Hialeah, Florida, which is a very high poverty, predominantly Hispanic community, first generation families, many not speaking English, but with a real pride for education and wanting their children to have a better life and to have a better opportunity. And I think that was the heart of how we founded ourselves as an organization. And we've grown since there. So that's kind of our history. And since then, we've really served those types of communities, which is why we think that Texas would be a great opportunity for us, because it really mirrors the type of students that we've worked with and been so successful with.
Yeah, well, you mentioned one of the R's is relevance, right? And so
Yes.
like understanding, the communities in Florida, and as you've expanded, that bringing that experience and that knowledge to San Antonio and serving, communities of families who are in similar circumstances. That's really promising.
Absolutely. And that
Yeah,
relevance also carries into the career academies that we're going to be offering. And I know we're going to talk about that going forward, but we're going to be offering career academies in biomedical, law, and education. And I think giving education is really obviously near and dear to my heart, because I'm a career educator. But I think, with the education being such a passion for the communities that we serve, and them again wanting those better opportunities for their kids. I love that we're making that a part of what we're going to be providing and making it relevant, where they're starting in kindergarten, going to get exposed and get experience in, what it's like to be in that field, or what it's like to be in those other fields through, hands-on project based, bringing the community into the school. And that excites me for the students.
yeah, yeah. Well, what you're describing sounds like things that I'm hearing from families that that's what families in San Antonio are looking for. So,
Great.
um, yeah. So okay. So I know I mentioned at the beginning that Matter Academy San Antonio is a proposed charter school. So I think for families who are in the charter moms discussion group, they're used to us talking about this on Facebook. Like I'm always looking for news about new schools coming. But can you all kind of explain what the timeline would be? Like there's the application process, like when the campus would open, like what grade levels it would serve when it opens.
Yeah, I can speak to that, Inga. So the application is due November 4th, and we're on track to have that ready and set to go with a grand opening school year 24-25. And the first year we would have kinder through sixth grade, and then the following year looking at adding ninth and 10th grade. And Shani and Danny, if I said something, but I believe that's kind of what we're on track to do. So we're really excited about that. Just like Shani said, and thank you for talking a little bit, Inga, about what San Antonio and the community is looking for, because we've been having lots of conversations and speaking with locals just to kind of get an idea if, what Matter can bring, and sharing how Matter can serve. One thing that Shani didn't get to share, but is a huge accomplishment for Matter, is that we can boast a 97% graduation rate. And we're talking about large classes. Our students, as she mentioned, with the rigor, we have majority of students, once they're already established in high school, taking AP courses, dual enrollment. And so partnering with all of our local resources and people here in San Antonio are things that we're looking forward to doing, so that we can extend those same opportunities to the Matter Academy students here in San Antonio.
And just if I can clarify, it was 96%. I don't know if that came through clearly.
Okay, 96.
Okay. Yeah, 96%.
Yeah, the graduation rate. That's wonderful. That's really helping a lot of students to get a good start on their future.
Yeah. And I think the impressive thing about that is, if you go back to the types of communities we serve, and, oftentimes these are high minority, above 90 percentile poverty rates. And we're seeing that success. We're seeing kids go to Ivy League schools and graduate with all of those advantages, because they worked hard and we gave them the opportunity to do that.
Right. So the schools are outperforming what the norm, might be for, traditional public schools serving those communities. Yeah.
And Inga, a couple other stats just to share is that basically 12 to 13% of these kids that are graduating with associate's degrees, which is a significant rate given this population. These are kids that are, first generation going to college, and they're already halfway done when they graduate. Also, about 50% of the kids in most of our high schools are attending AP courses. So another stat that I think is pretty impressive and shows how we're really trying to push kids up.
Yeah, and that's at an open enrollment school, right? So it's not a selective school. It's not that you're picking certain students that you think are capable of doing AP courses or the dual enrollment. It's like the doors are open to any student, any family who wants to apply.
And it's a lot of those things that, have allowed us, to be blue ribbon schools, to be, one of the first charter networks to be accredited, STEM accredited as well. We've received Verizon Innovative Learning Grants. And I think most notably, we recently received a $49 million replication grant because of our, we're high performing, and that's why we really want to go into Texas. We want to use that to bring our great school, our great system, our great philosophy to other children everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I want to kind of circle back to some of the things that Shani talked about. Like, you mentioned, things like that it's technology rich, and like one-on-one devices, the 3 R's. So I was wondering if you could talk more about the the elements of the curriculum, like once Matter San Antonio gets stood up, like what will be those elements of the curriculum that will really benefit the students?
Yeah, I can speak to that, and please, Shani, come on in when you need to. What we want is, in high school, by the time our students are in high school, they'll be able to participate in one of 3 academies. And Shani mentioned a little bit, it's the biomedical, law, and education. And as we know, the opening year will have kinder through 6th grade. So we plan to begin embedding that through a multidisciplinary approach from kindergarten. So students will have the opportunity in, say, a pre-academy, in order for them to already get the exposure through rich core content instruction. So yes, they'll be getting all of the core content, but through core content, they're also learning about micro societies and their impact on our local communities. They will be learning through health or PE. What's a fitness challenge that we have going on right now? Or we, in some of our Matter schools, use Project Lead the Way, which is a wonderful program. And maybe there will be some of our elementary students that will be making prototypes for prosthetic limbs, or trying to solve one of the world's problems through their project-based learning activities. So all of these opportunities for our students beginning in kinder, just as Shani said, from kinder through career at Matter, and providing them the exposure and following it through middle school. So by the time they get to the academies in high school, whether it's law, biomedical, or education, then they've already received those opportunities, exposures, and are able to make the decision that best suits them in the academy of their choice.
And then one of the things that I love that we're doing is we have in our Education Academy, we will be providing our high school students the opportunity to actually intern in the classes in the school. And it's kind of serves, twofold. With staff members, students, and other children in those preschool programs, those early childhood programs, our students get that opportunity. But also, and I think Danny can probably elaborate a little bit more on this, we have an agreement with the students as they graduate to be able to graduate tuition free as educators. And I'll let Danny elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, and what we've been able to do in South Florida, and we want to do actually in Florida and in Nevada, and we want to do the same thing in San Antonio, is partner with local colleges and universities to be able to automatically matriculate them into those programs to become educators and do their student teaching with us. And what we'll do is we basically will guarantee them a job at the end. We will assume the cost of the education for them, get them their BA, and then they just got to come back and work with us for a couple of years. And so it's really wonderful because we're basically providing them a free education and then giving them a job on the way out. So it really is a wonderful situation, given especially the need that we have for teachers today. That's one of our biggest challenges. There's just not enough educators.
Yeah, I hear that from many different school networks that it's a challenge. So y'all are helping to be a part of the solution to the problem. Growing your own new teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay.
No, I was just gonna say, what better gift than to have your own alumni come back and teach, in your classes, and that can be through, after school care programs or different things like that they just want to start out experiencing what is education, and then being able to be our own living testimonies to, what Matter was able to do for them by giving back to their community.
Yeah.
And also, as someone who's not bilingual, I really wish that we had this when I was in school, starting in elementary school. I'll let Bonnie tell you how we're going to be implementing second language learning to students.
Yes, thank you, Shani. So our students in elementary would have be exposed to Spanish daily as part of one of their specials. So in addition to, PE, art, technology, our students in elementary would take Spanish. So Spanish would be something that would be offered to everyone. And as you know, even whether in San Antonio, we do have a large population who is bilingual, but this also further supports them as they are going to and through their careers. So providing them with those foundational skills in conversational Spanish, and then as they matriculate through to middle and high, is the academic Spanish skills for them to be able to not only communicate with those that are also Spanish speakers or native Spanish speakers, but in supporting and reaching a broader audience as they go through and, have acquired more of the Spanish language through the immersion that's offered to them through the school.
Yeah. More. It'll help the students who speak Spanish at home versus the ones who are only learning it at school. It'll give them more common ground and more ways that they can, be part of the same culture at the school.
Yes.
Well, great. I want to ask, I'm a big believer in storytelling. It's, like in blogging and on social media. So I was wondering if y'all, especially Shani is, experience. You talked about how much you love being an educator, to share stories, based on what's happening already at Matter Academy campuses, or, Bonnie, you can, you're an experienced educator, but just to sort of help paint a picture for families. Like you mentioned, one of the R's is relationships, right? So with its relationships or rigor or relevance, like, share stories to help paint a picture of what the school culture will be at Matter Academy San Antonio.
I have a couple of great stories that just pop into my head. A couple of things. Well, so at our original school in Hialeah, that school is approximately 3,500 students, more or less. I know it's over 3,000 students. And I love going to that school because every time I go there, you see all the grandparents sitting outside playing dominoes and, waiting to pick up their kids. And it's really like such a special family culture every time I go there. And so, like parents, that I'll just see them, even just cleaning off a car that's a teacher's if they see a piece of it's just sweet to see. And so that school has a guidance counselor named Miss Camacho, and every time I hear the students that are graduating give their speeches or you talk to them, they always talk about this guidance counselor Miss Camacho for years, and how she shaped their lives, how if it weren't for her, their parents didn't speak English, and they were, they didn't know the pathway to get to college. They didn't even know the process, and how she handheld them and walked them every step of the way. Giving them her personal cell phone number, meeting with them every time they needed to meet. And to the point where some of these kids that, anywhere else might have fallen through the cracks ended up at Ivy League schools. And I love when they come back and they come to our board meetings and they, like the board meetings, and they tell about these stories and they talk about how she changed their lives. And, again, that school has a 96% graduation rate and extremely high minority, almost 100%, it's predominantly Hispanic. It's kids that, their parents just believed in education, like we talked about earlier. And, all of these kids graduating from that school with AA degrees. I love hearing them talk about it. And the cool thing is that a bunch of those kids came back not only to form an advisory board to the Matter board of directors, but to also, some of them are actually active board members now that they're older and graduated. Yeah. So it's incredible, because who has better firsthand knowledge than the kids that went through the school that can say, this was my experience, I lived it, this is what I love, but this is what we can make better. And this is what we should continue to emphasize. And this is where we should grow. And that's so special. I think the other story that I love is there was an 8th grade student. His name was Anthony. And Anthony was a third-time retainee. He was absolutely the highest risk you can be for dropout prevention. His parents had abandoned him. He lived with his elderly, his grandfather, who was very ill. He had no one making sure he got up every day, no one making sure he got to school every day. And we had one of our guidance counselors really took him, not guidance counselors, excuse me, reading coaches, took him under his wing. And he was going to quit, the second day of school. And he was, almost, 16, 17. And he's still in 8th grade. Can you imagine, how this kid felt socially? Poor thing. And he ended up working with this reading coach who just brought him under his wing. And he would call him every day and say, Anthony, you on your way to school? Anthony, you're not at school today. Why aren't you here? Do you need me to tutor you after school? You could. And he, sometimes it would be, my grandfather's sick, he can't make it. I can't make it. And he'd say, no problem. Do you want me to meet you at the library? We can do your tutoring there. I'll help you with your classwork there. And that kid ended up not only graduating, going into high school, getting all of his credits, but ended up graduating with an AA degree, and then would come back to the school and give, inspirational speeches to our high school students graduating. And we used to do, sort of 8th grade promotion ceremonies where he would speak as well, especially to those students that may be struggling like him, and got a standing ovation, and just tears would flow every time you would hear this success story. And that's the kind of difference we can make for kids in Texas.
Wow. I mean, I'm feeling emotional. Like those are really powerful stories. Yeah.
And he's so grateful. He just will come in and like hug you and like, the school changed my life. Yeah. It makes you kind of tear up.
It does. It does. Well, no, because like that's why I do this. Like, I mean, I started this because I was trying to solve it for my own kids. And I have a child on the autism spectrum, and I saw teachers give up on him. I saw teachers, set low expectations for him. And I was like, I'm not going to put up with it. But I know I have resources. I was able to homeschool for a year. Like I do all this research, like, but like there's kids who don't have that support network.
Yeah.
And it's happening all across San Antonio where there's untapped potential. There's kids who aren't
Yeah.
being set up for their future, and they just need caring adults who have the skills and will put in the time and attention. So that makes you emotional, but also makes me excited because it means there are students in San Antonio who will be able to benefit from being students at Matter Academy San Antonio.
And some people might think, well, that was just one teacher. That one teacher might not be at this school, but truly, we met together about this student as we do about any student, especially at-risk students, because those are the ones that just need that extra. And we all said, what do we need to do collectively to make sure that this isn't Anthony's, third experience at failing and, not having that sense of success and self-worth and hope. He just needed some hope and someone to believe in him. And I think we really bring that because we love what we do. It's a passion.
If there was only, the original Matter Academy, that's one thing, but there's over 40 campuses in the network. I mean, so clearly you guys replicating a school at scale and maintaining that quality, like that 96% graduation rate, that's challenging, but y'all already know how to replicate. You already know how to expand out of state. It's just a matter of, coming to Texas, demonstrating to the TEA and the State Board of Education that, how valuable this model is, how relevant it is to the community in San Antonio, and then be able to, identify those teachers who will, the teachers, the counselors, the interventionists who will put in the time with those students.
I think you hit the nail on the head, because to do it at one school is something, but to do it with over 40 schools and still be able to have that record of success, I think is pretty significant.
Yeah, it is. It is. Wow. Okay. Hard to follow that. But I don't know, Danny, do you have stories that you want to share or just their insights about the culture at Matter Academy?
I mean, that's a tough act to follow. I mean, it's funny because I was like, I've always been impressed by some of these kids that come back and have joined the board, and you don't realize it, like you said, I have means and I've been able to provide certain things to my kids and help them, in certain scenarios. And not everybody has those resources and those abilities. And so when you see some of these kids and the school that Shannine's talking about, I mean, this is a tough, it's a poor neighborhood. These kids are first generation going to college, and to talk to them and hear them say, this school saved my life. And it's not like I'm talking, these kids value the fact that they got into that school versus having to go to the other options that they had. Like this school changed the trajectory of their lives. And it's just a story that we hear over and over. And it's something that is, it's beautiful. We value it. And we want to bring that to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to add that I don't have the 25 years that Shani does with Matter, but when she says relationships, that runs deep in the schools and you can feel it. It's important. That's what's relevant to anybody who's part of Matter. And like you said, Inga, our kids in San Antonio deserve that opportunity and at minimum that choice. So I'm honored to be able to speak here with these individuals, and I thank you for the opportunity and stories that Shani shared. We need to hear more of that.
And I think that embeds that concept of safety. When people think of safety, they think of cameras and, single point of entry and fences and guards around the schools. And I think what really makes kids feel most safe is the relationships, is feeling safe with the people that are, charged with their care every day, and feeling safe and valued and loved. And don't we all want that,
Yeah. Well, because that security is what will get that's the base that they can build off. That's the foundation so that they can have big dreams and maybe imagine things for themselves that no one in their family has done before.
Absolutely.
But they can go far with that. Well, I want to make sure that we're sharing with folks how they can kind of follow the progress of Matter Academy San Antonio, how they can keep in touch. So I've got the website that I can put up on the screen, but and then so how can families stay informed? How can they keep in touch, or how can they express support for Matter Academy?
Well, I mean, they can go to mattersanantonio.org and they can, sign up, to be, we'll basically keep them updated as to the progress. That's one way. And then also, I mean, I did want to share where it is that we're initially looking to locate the campus. I mean, we haven't identified anything specifically, but the general area that we're looking for initially is kind of along that I-35 corridor, and close to the 1604 loop. So kind of if you were to draw a 5-mile radius around that is a general location that we're looking at. And we're going to be serving communities really on the east side of San Antonio, east to northeast side, and then going out on I-35 towards New Braunfels and on I-10 towards Seguin. So that whole area is kind of who we're looking to serve.
Yeah. Well, that's a fast growing part of San Antonio. It's also very economically diverse. So there's going to be families from all walks of life, who could appreciate having another education choice. Yeah. And then I think Bonnie mentioned, so it'll start definitely with grades K through 6, right, in the first year, and with also 9th grade.
Yeah. So the first year is K through 6, and then we're going to start the 9th grade the following year, and then growing on through there to high school. Yeah. And again, it also depends on the demand. If we see right off the bat that there's a huge demand to get 9th grade going, that's something that can be considered. But right now in the application, we're kind of planning on going K through 6 and then 9th the second year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So folks can go to the website. I think there's and Matter San Antonio, for anyone who's just listening on the podcast, it's MATER, right? So it's from the Latin word. So it sounds like matter with 2 T's. It's actually matter with 1 T. So Matter San Antonio. And then there's I know that there's a form where they can fill out and join like an interest list, right? But I also saw on the website there's info@mattersanantonio.org. And then on social media, it's at Matter San Antonio is where folks can get updates and follow on social media, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Well, yeah. Do y'all have any closing thoughts? Anything we didn't cover yet?
No, I mean, I think you gave us the opportunity to really share what we're all about. And, I just hope that it makes parents there maybe sit up a little straighter and say, hey, this might be a great opportunity for my child. And I'm going to look into this further. And I'm going to, even pledge my support because I believe in what they believe in. So we're hoping that this was able to get our message across. And we look forward to meeting some of the families in the area and get to talk to you further. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions and want to find out more.
And actually, it is important as part of the application, if people are interested, please go to the website, please sign up, that you're interested. It actually really does make a difference. So
yes, it does.
Yeah, each sign up is like a little vote. It's a family speaking up saying, hey, I think we need this here.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that means a lot. So there's already buzz in the Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook, and I hope it just keeps building from there, as y'all have more community events and things like that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Inga.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all, and good luck. Yeah, always a pleasure, Bonnie. All right, take care, y'all.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.